Welcome to the Fluffy Cow Studio. I'm Deanna, and I am bringing you another Easter decoration. I wasn't going to do any more Easter, but I decided what the heck. So, today to start with, I took some cardboard and I cut out two Easter eggs, and then I glued them together. And when I got them glued together, I cut the bottom part of that egg off so it was flat. And now we are just about ready to get going. I'd like to welcome any new subscribers, and if this is your first time watching, welcome. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I really enjoy having you here with us today and every day. Okay, right now I am taking a pencil and just drawing some lines where I kind of want to peel off part of this cardboard. And I'm taking some water, and then I'm taking a brush and I'm brushing that water on to the areas I want to pull the top part of that cardboard off. Now this idea came from Patty J. Good. If you guys haven't watched her ever, you need to watch her. She has got the most amazing ideas, and she does such a good job. I really enjoy watching her and learning from her. And this idea came from her, so I'm not taking it as my own, but I am going to give her the credit she deserves. She did not do hers this way. The one she did was absolutely gorgeous. This is going to be more whimsical than it is gorgeous like hers. But now I'm peeling off the top layer of the cardboard, that little brown paper. And I didn't really let this sit long enough, and I should have let it sit a little bit longer, because once I let it sit and it got a little soggier, it came off a lot easier. And I'm just gonna rip that off. Okay. Then I'm gonna go over and just rip them all off. Now I'm taking some sandpaper, and I'm just sanding in between those little corrugated uh, cardboard paper things, just to clean it up. If you don't do it, it's really messy. And I don't know if you can see that. I know on Patty's um, video, I wondered, I was like, why is she cleaning it up? It doesn't need to be, but yeah, it does. It needs to be cleaned up. You might not be able to see that on here, but it does need to be cleaned. So I'm just sanding it lightly to get all that gunk out of there. And then I've got a couple of pieces of cardboard that I'm trying to sand down a little bit to make more even, and then I don't know why, because I texture them up. And once I get that done, then I am going to put some glue, some Titan Bond, and I'm using Titan Bond because it glues so well. Now you can use Elaine's Tacky Glue or Elmer's glue, but I just really wanted this to stick really, really well. And so again, if you've seen me do the little rabbits, I'm putting rice. I'm gonna glue down some rice, and I'm laying the rice down on that, just like if you was putting glitter. So I'm gluing that down, just making sure I fill it all in. And I have come addicted to this Titan Bond glue because it glues so well. once I get this done, I'm going to set it aside and let it dry. Then I'm going to take this rope that I have, and first of all I took a lighter and lit all the little ends. This is a little different than jute, so it was a little harder to get them to burn off, but they were really kind of sharp and, you know, like a rope. It's a rope, so it had them little prickly things there. So I burnt them off, and now I'm gluing it, and I'm using quite a bit of glue, hot glue, to glue that on to that cardboard around the egg. And I'm just going around the sides and top. I'm not going to do the bottom where it's flat. And when you cut these off, you want to make sure that they are even with that flat line there. You don't want it to go over any at all, because it will affect how it glues down. So now that it is dry, I'm going to go over it with Mod Podge. I really don't want them pieces of rice falling all over, so I'm gluing it on with the Mod Podge just to make sure they aren't flying all over the place. And I'm just using a dabbing. I'm just tapping, tap, 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 or dab, 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 because it'll get into the cracks and nooks and everything a lot better if I do that. And as you see, I'm just pouring a little bit on. It's so much easier to do it that way, and it spreads so much better than if you're trying to dip the brush in the Mod Podge and put it on. It just doesn't go on very well. Okay, now I'm going to let that sit and dry. And now that it is dry, I am going to go over all of the corrugated parts. I do not know the name of this brown. It has one name that I cannot pronounce. I have no idea what it is, but it is about the same color as raw umber. And so if I were you, if you want to do this, you can use raw umber, or if you have some of that wax that they use, you could use that. But I'm just going over there, and I'm not doing it really making sure it's perfect. I'm just going over with it, darken it up a little. Okay, then I'm going to take some cool blue, and I'm going to do the top line of that S shape. I didn't realize it was an S shape until I'm sitting here looking at it. And I'm just dabbing that on too. I'm just dabbing it on, and I'm making sure I'm doing quite a lot of paint on there, so I don't have to do 2 coats. And then I am dabbing on Paradise Pink. These are from Apple Barrel. I'm just going over them really well, and I'm tapping it and dabbing it so it will get in all the crevices and everything. And so it does take a little bit longer to make sure I'm getting it all on there. Okay, then I'm going to take some petunia purple, and I'm going to do the bottom. Again, just tap, 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 tap. once I get that done, I'm gonna go over that brown. I'm gonna go over it with white, and I'm doing it kind of heavy. If you don't want to do it that heavy, you don't have to, but it's always better to start out a little lighter. That way, you know, it's easier to build up than it is to kind of take it off or redo it. So and I'm going to do that on all of that egg. And I did go over this, I did another coat after it dried. I did do 2 coats on this white. Now I'm going to take the white and go, I'm just dry brushing. I'm not tapping on this, I'm just dry brushing, and I wasn't tapping on the other either. I'm just dry brushing over the top of those so it will catch the rice. And I do 2 coats of this on the rice because I wanted it to be multiple colors. I didn't just want it to be white and blue, so variants of blue and variants of pink and stuff. So I did go over it once, and then after it dried I did end up going over it again. And on this cardboard, the paint dries really fast, and so it doesn't take long to see if you want it darker or lighter. Okay, now I'm going to go around the edges with that same brown, and probably the best color to tell you is raw umber. And I'm just going to go around all those stripes. I'm just going along the edges. And I'm just dry brushing. I'm not doing the just regular paint, and I'm dry brushing. I just want the edges to, you know, kind of look a little worn, and also to kind of give it that rustic feeling. But it also kind of puts a definition between the stripes and the rice. Okay, now I'm going to take a piece of wood, and this wood is just the size of a little bit bigger than my egg. I would say probably around a foot or 12 inches, maybe 10 inches. But I just measured it to my egg to see, you know, what dimensions. I already had it cut. It was for another project, or it was a leftover from another project. So I just measured it, and it happened to work, so I'm just using it. I did take it outside and sand the sides and the corners and the bottom and the top a little bit. And I'm going to paint the top. And then I'm going to let that dry, and then I will paint the bottom. Then I'm going to take that brown, that raw umber, and I am going to go along the edges of that wood. And now and then I'm going to dry brush it along the top part. Now I'm taking some jute, and I have an Easter egg that I'm just going to wrap that jute around and glue it on. This right here is the part that takes the longest. I'm just gluing it, then putting it on and gluing it. And I'm using my hot glue gun now, so my hot. So it is really hot, so I had to put my little protectors on. And I'm just taking that jute, going around. And because it is a hot glue, you can go, I can go a longer distance without having to, hurry and put it down, because when you do the warm glue gun, you don't have much time to work with. So I was able to do quite a bit more. And then I just make sure it's at the end. I just kind of tuck it in, and then I'm going to do the other side. And I started in the middle for two reasons. And one, because it was easier, and number two, because I wanted to make sure that egg stayed shut. And it was easier if I started with in the middle. And I just keep spinning that around. I have this sped up so you can see what I'm doing, but so that it doesn't take all day to get through. Okay, and at the end I'm going to just make sure all that, if there's any holes or anything left, I'm just going to fill it in with the jute. Then I'm going to take a lighter and burn all of the excess glue and the excess little fuzzies off. And I got this jute at Walmart, and it doesn't seem to have a whole lot of fuzzies like, some of my other ones did. Now I'm taking some stickers that I have, and I was going to glue these down, but they stuck so well I couldn't get them off to glue them. So I figured, well, I guess they're going to stay on, so I won't worry about it. And I'm just putting a little bit of them on, and now I'm taking these are little stickers of flowers, by the way. And now I'm going to take my brown and go across the edges. Apparently the last little episode was I must have been painting it white and I thought it was brown. But now I take these Jenga blocks, and these are the dark brown ones, so I just am going over them with white. I'm just dry brushing white on them to give them the worn look, the rustic look. And I painted my back of my egg white, and now I'm taking that brown and just dry brushing some streaks kind of down, give it a wood look and just kind of worn look. Okay, now I'm taking some Titan Bond after that gets dry. I'm going to take some Titan Bond, and then I'm going to take some hot glue and put it in the middle. And this is why it's so important that you make sure that your rope is even with the ends of that egg. Otherwise you're going to have problems. And then I glued one going long ways from the bottom to however far it goes up, and then I put another Jenga block behind the first Jenga block. And now I'm gluing some flowers on. And you can't see it really too well there. I did not realize. I gotta figure something else out. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But anyway, so now I'm just gluing some flowers on here. And gluing a little bit of greenery. Then I'm going to glue my eggs on. And I took the one Easter egg that I painted and I tapped on white, and then I went over it again with my cool blue. Now this is an Easter egg I had left over from an Easter rabbit that I had left over from another project, and I will leave the link to that craft in so you can learn to do it. But all it is the same technique as what we did the rice on. I just cut out a rabbit, glued the I glued the rice on, then I painted it antique white, and then when it dries, I will go over it with white. And right here, I'm just adding some of that cool blue to give the egg the color I want, and now I'm just going over it with white, just like we did the egg. And I'm just going to glue all that stuff down. I'm gluing some carrots down for the little rabbit now. And this was a little tough gluing on, and I'm not lying to you. I oh, right now I'm taking the brown and going around the edges of that bunny. And then I'm going to glue on his little tail, and I'm going to glue on his little bow tie. Now, this gluing it onto there was kind of hard. I wished I hadn't have put the rice on the back side. I thought I was going to use it for my other craft, and I didn't. I didn't want it to go to waste, so I thought I'd put it on here. But it would have been a lot easier to glue on if I didn't have the rice on back there. But it turned out okay. So now I'm just gluing some little flowers on that little blue egg. And then I'm going to take some of those little green leaf stickers and put them on, only this time I'm just dabbing a little extra glue on it. I really don't think they'll come off because boy did that thing stick to that egg with the jute on it. And then I take and put a few, because I thought it looked a little bare between the carrots and the rabbit, so I just put a few little of those. They're female clay flowers, and I just put them down in there to make it look a little bit better, or so it wasn't bare right there. And this is our final project. Thank you so very much for watching us today. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments below if you liked it or not. I think I made it seem like it was a lot harder and longer than it actually took, but it was really quite easy, and I'm going to give it to my niece, and so hopefully she'll like it. But I just want to thank you all for popping in. I really appreciate you. It means the world to me to have people come back and watch. And I'm just going to be quiet now and let you watch. Have a good day. Remember, you may be one person in this great big world, but to one person you may be the world. So never forget your value. You're always welcome here. We love you. Have a good day, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.